So what that allows us to do is go into that very deep system level. You can see here on the right hand side we've got schematics here of the air system, I think it is, yeah, the aircon system. And we will model every single component of this system. And the electrical system, every single switch is modeled in there. Fuel system, hydraulic system, every single line that is feeding those fuels or hydraulics is modeled. And the reason for that is because if you're switching a certain pump or something off, then you still have residual fuel, residual hydraulics in those lines. Things will still work until that line is dry, essentially, when you're doing that. So we go to very, very deep levels on the systems. And this is in-sim footage. This is in-sim footage. And we put a little preview screen out a couple of weeks ago. I think last week we put this one out of the electrical system. And this is essentially exactly the same other two screens, the synoptic screens. So you have your typical synoptic screen here, and the scenario is that the R1 gen is out, it's disconnected. You can see that the left APU is generating power and feeding power into the system as well. But it's not just that, which is typically what you see on the surface of most of the airliners these days in the sim. We've had to go a lot deeper in the system's coding because you can see there on the maintenance data pages and also the maintenance control pages, it's showing you exactly what's going on. Now this is work in progress. Some of the data here is not actual represented, and that's something we're working through right now. When you guys get your hands on the aircraft, then you'll see all these numbers changing. And this is completely live. I saw a question come through saying, are these static pages? Every single page in the maintenance system is live. So live data is being fed from the aircraft. You can see here we've got a SATCOM page. You can make calls on the SATCOM. So we've gone to that level of detail as well within the SATCOM pages, weather radar, and you'll see more of these coming through. We call it snapshots. You'll be seeing more of these pages coming through. On the right-hand side, we have our standard routing within the CDU. It's standard for the Boeing. You guys have seen this many, many times before. And some of the questions we've had is, will we have SimBrief and Navigraph integration? Yes, we will. So what we're developing for is using the Microsoft Flight Sim nav data. So you can use the in-sim tablet, you can send that through to the avionics system, through to the FMC, and the same with SimBrief and Navigraph. So obviously we're having those features available as well. So that's system depth. As I said, we will have snapshots, what we call snapshots, which will be coming out over the following months, and we will focus on particular things. We'll be focused on particular art, particular systems, sounds, those kind of things as well. I should say thank you to the team that couldn't make it here today, unfortunately. Thank you to Callum and to Magnus for all of their support as well from Threshold and FSLE, and obviously the FSWeekend team. If you're interested, you can scan the QR code here, and that will take you through to our Discord. These screenshots will be available once the presentation is done. And as I say, look out over the coming months with the snapshots that we have coming up. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll take it away.
Good, because we have time for questions. Yes.
Is there any plans for malfunctions?
Yes.
So the question for our audience at home, is there plans for malfunctions?
Yes, so the system level depth we have, because the maintenance page is, if I just click back as we go here. So with the system level depth, because of the maintenance pages here, you'll be able to go into the maintenance control pages and the data pages and actually reset things like circuit breakers and those kind of things. So we're working on a failure system, and something that's going to be practical that you can turn on or off, because you don't want to be doing a 9-hour flight and then suddenly things start going wrong. Or you may want that. You may want to be able to turn those systems on. So just to give you an idea, we have over 700 pages of checklists. So that's normal and non-normal procedures. So if you're looking at malfunctions, then you go through those non-normal checklist procedures to do that. There's over, I think, 200 maintenance pages as well, ECAS pages as well. So we've got a lot of system depth to be able to do failures. And that includes things like MELs. I saw a question about MELs, and you can have those written up and work through those as well. So you could call maintenance and have a look at maintenance. You could do that yourself.
So you can really implement failures.
Yes.
Failures and Also randomly?
Yes, so the question was, can we randomly implement failures? Then yes, we will have a system. So we have the standard EFB, so the standard Boeing EFB within the aircraft, but also we have our own tablet, and within those tablet you can set those kind of parameters. If you want random failures throughout your flight, you can do that. Then you go through your non-normal procedures to deal with those particular things. So as an example there, with this example, with the right engine, the right generator off. That's me clicking. Sorry. With the right generator off here, then you would go through the standard procedure through this. You'll see the load shedding there as well, so the load shedding will tell you what's actually being load shed from the aircraft as well. So yes, we'll be able to do that.
Okay, perfect. And you have
Thank
the release date yet? Because
Sorry?
you're working on it for a year now, so
Yes.
do you have any release date?
2026, it will come out this year. We won't commit to a month.
Okay.
We don't, but yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
2026, thank
So we have another question for down here, and then I'll come up to you as well.
Yeah, working on the maintenance stuff will it be persistent and will also probably maybe shareable. So if I use fuel, oil, hydraulics, till the brakes maybe, and then I can tile somebody else. So yes, my maybe that's on the
It is something we're looking into. We have a very exciting feature we'll announce later on. Probably you just alluded a little bit to that. But yes, one of the biggest things on all of the aircraft that the team have worked on is persistence. We're all flight simmers. I've been flight simming for 36 years, I think now. So for me, when I'm flying aircraft, I want to have that level of ability. Do I want to get into a broken aircraft and then have to fix it? Sometimes no, I just want to go in and fly. So, we have to have those options on the tablet to be able to do that. If you want full realism or you're handing an aircraft off to somebody else, then that is something we are looking into, yes.
Fabulous. Thank you. And that was a question about persistence for like the maintenance from the previous question as well.
Yeah. So from the maintenance side, so again, if you have an issue with this generator here, you can write up an MEL about this particular generator, and if you have that option enabled, then if I took the aircraft from you and I go to the MEL list, I'll see that there was an R1 gen failure from that particular point of view. So that is something we're working on, yes.
Thank you very much. And we have a question from the middle row up here.
First of all, this sounds very promising. My question you mentioned SATCOM calls.
Yes.
That's basically an unheard of thing at the moment in flight simulation.
Mhm.
How do you plan on implementing that, and what will we hear when we make the call?
So the question very quickly was about SATCOM calls. No, you're good. And how, so kind of new for flight simulation, how are you going to implement that, and what would we kind of hear?
This is the system level depth that we're talking about. So a lot of things, when we looked at the aircraft, there's a lot of unique features in the aircraft, but SATCOM is actually standard in most of the aircraft. So one of the things right now, when I make a call, it tries to connect to ground ops as an example. And right now we have a pre-recorded audio that comes back and says, sorry, we can't come to the phone right now, kind of things like that. However, we do want to go to that extra level of realism. And that's where having the pilots on board, we can say, what are the typical types of calls that you make to ground ops? So this is where we're talking to partners about particular systems that we can implement within the aircraft. We've spoken to quite a few people at the show this weekend as well, to basically enhance that level of realism for you. So if you want to if you've got an issue, like I say, the gen is out, you can make that call to a maintenance team, and the maintenance team can advise you of what you need to do. That's something we're looking at right now. I'm not going to promise those features, but we want to make this as realistic as possible. And having those pilots on board and the ground team on board really helps us put those scenarios down. We don't want to flood the aircraft with issues, we don't want to flood these kind of things, but we want to have these calls and these features available.
We have time for just one more question from the audience. I've got a gentleman just there.
Yeah, bit of a more general question, because as a developer myself, I'm interested in the thought process that you put into announcing this right now, because we've seen over the last 2 years actually, that premature announcements, can lead to hype turning into hate before the product is even released. So how did you come up with announcing it now, and how confident are you that you can actually meet the 2026 schedule that you set to yourself?
Sure, I'll reverse that one. We're very confident we will meet the 2026 schedule. That's something the entire team is very confident about. This aircraft has been meticulously planned, as you saw from this particular thing. When I first came onto the project, there was probably 4 to 6 months of just pure planning. because this aircraft is huge. There's a lot of things in there. If we just said we're not going to do the maintenance side of things, then okay, it's a standard aircraft, but we're going to that next level of detail. We're very confident we will hit that 2026 date. And coming back to the process, I've already seen hate out there. It's like, who are Vector, this new studio?
Yeah.
We understand that. There are new studios that come on the scene all of the time. What I say to that is that the team that we have, we've made a lot of aircraft, we've worked for a lot of the leading flight sim companies out there that you guys are flying as a community right now. The art team as well have made art for aircraft that you guys are flying, the systems coding. So from a confidence point of view, we're very confident we will hit that 2026 day. I'm already flying the aircraft. That may give some indication.
It's always good, yeah.
I'm already, but there was a question about VATSIM, there was a question about ILS landing. I'm already doing that already as part of that testing. So we are confident we'll hit that 2026 date. In terms of the social media, that's where we're looking at spotlights, because we don't want to give everything away to start with. And that's where the spotlight series, we'll do a spotlight on the cockpits, a spotlight on the sounds, a spotlight on the systems depth itself. We'll show videos, we'll show trailers, because a trailer can show so much, but the spotlights are designed to give you the information that you guys require. I hope that answered.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
No problem at all.
Amazing. Before we wrap up here, a couple of days ago, we put out a post to the community to say, hey, if you've got any questions for Vector, send them to us so we can kind of answer you today. I think most of those things have been answered either through your presentation today or through some of the questions that our audience here have asked. But something that hasn't come up yet, -8, -10.
-8, -10.
Maybe? Yes?
Maybe, yes. Yes, definitely. We are making all three variants. So we're making the -8, the -9, and the -10. I think I put a post up on our Discord saying, how would you guys want to buy this? It kind of alluded that we are making it, but yes, we are making all three variants.
Excellent. Well, thank you so very much for taking your time today to come and talk a little bit more about the system depth and about what the aircraft will look like. I think the artwork looks fantastic. Reading the chat earlier, there's a lot of positivity coming out of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.